called to the Riverside Square Mall on a report of 5 unconscious adults in the parking garage. Officers quickly assessed the scene and observed civilians performing life-saving measures, including CPR on 2 of the victims. Police officers, firefighters, and EMS took over care and administered Narcan to 4 of the victims. 4 of the victims were transported to an area hospital, with 1 victim refusing medical aid on scene. The Bergen County Prosecutor's Office was notified and responded, and this is an ongoing criminal investigation. This is not a random incident, and the mall and the stores within the mall and stores are safe, and there is no danger to the public. Like I said, this is an ongoing investigation. It's active with our Crime Suppression Bureau. Does anyone have any questions?
When you say not a random incident, what do you mean?
We know how this incident started and how the substances were obtained.
So is it safe to say that they didn't knowingly ingest the substance?
We don't know at this point. We're still investigating.
And for sure, fentanyl is involved in some way.
We believe so, but we do have to rely on drug testing.
How are they doing at this time?
4 of the victims, 1 victim refused medical aid on scene, and 3 of the other victims were released from the hospital, and 1 victim is in serious but stable condition.
And I'm sure, you're the captain. I'm sure you've had a chance to talk with your folks who responded. What did they say? What are some of their reactions to just? And they're the heroes here. If you could talk about that, it'd be great.
Well, our police officers and firefighters and EMS on scene, they all acted professionally, and unfortunately, this is not something that these officers haven't been to before, and we are equipped with Narcan, and we know how to use it, and they did what they were taught to do, and they saved a life along with these civilians that were on scene.
Can you just take us through the play-by-play of how the call came in, the response, what took place at that point?
From what I know, Hackensack PD received 911 calls that civilians had observed these unconscious persons in the parking garage of the Riverside Square Mall. They called 911, and our dispatch contacted EMS along with the fire department, and our police officers, firefighters, and EMS responded and took over life-saving care.
And to be clear, they were in a car in the garage, or were they outside?
They were outside a vehicle.
Okay.
We heard that some of them were in a break-in, but during the break lunch when they were working. Is that true? Or?
I don't know at this point.
Do you know where they worked?
I don't.
Okay. You said you're not sure if they knowingly ingested the fentanyl. At least, were they doing any other sort of illicit drugs when they ingested the fentanyl?
We did recover evidence on scene. However, it's being tested at the lab, so I don't know exactly what substance yet at this time.
You said the firefighters, police, the first responders, they've been through this before. It's not something that's new. It's because fentanyl is so prevalent now, right? I was talking to the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, says that nearly all of the fatal overdoses statewide and in Bergen County are there's suspected of having fentanyl in the drugs. Is that right? Is that also the case here in Hackensack?
I'm going to turn this over to Director Buchetti.
Those are great questions, and I think it's important to put it in context because we're seeing this all over the country. We talk about this as overdoses, but I think we're seeing a lot, to your point, it's more about poisoning. A lot of the folks that are victims to this don't know exactly what they're taking, and it may very well be illicit drugs, or it may be something else. And even if it's the illicit drugs, they have no idea they may be taking fentanyl. It's the mass poisoning that we're concerned about, and certainly Bergen County, state of New Jersey, is no stranger to this. Unfortunately, we just happened to be involved with an event where there was 5 victims. It's important to recognize that fentanyl has become, in a sense, a cutting agent for these drug distributors to actually make a greater profit here, and that increases the risk for folks that may come in contact with it. It only takes 2 milligrams to actually kill someone with fentanyl. And if you look at what a sweet and low packet, what that contains, that in itself can kill probably about 900 people. So, you know, if you're the unfortunate person that comes into contact with it because you thought you were taking one thing and it's something else, you can see what the consequences are. So, you know, education's a big thing here in terms of this, not only prevent it, but also I'd like to turn it back to the captain because he actually has some, you know, some notifications that he could, that folks can make. And you know what, I would be remiss if we did it, not only, you know, recognize the police officers, but the firefighters too that were on scene immediately, and certainly those passerbys that actually stopped to give aid. So that's important to recognize.
Thank you. I just want to end by stating that Overdose Awareness Day is August 31st of each year. However, this epidemic is a top priority for the Hackensack Police Department and our partner local and county agencies. The county actually offers some resources that I'd like to share. We do have recovery support specialists, 24/7 hotline. You can call or text to 201-589-2976, or you can go to stoptheods.com. Also, you can request Narcan confidentially by calling or texting 1-877-4-NARCAN. Thank you very much.
Captain, can you give us your name?
Captain Michael Antista,
Can you spell Antista for us?
Antista.
I did have one question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I tried reaching out to Simon unsuccessfully. My question is that if this took place at 5:30 in the evening, the mall's hours are usually out till about 9:30 or 10. What was the mall, you know, how did they go about it? Like, were they shutting down? I know there were police and fire and EMS. How did they go about the mall with the public?
I do know that the mall did not shut down. I don't have any further information.
Okay.
All of the victims are females?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
All of the victims are female?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we've been hearing reports too that area can have some type of drug usage, or people maybe meet there that aren't even necessarily affiliated with the mall. Is that an area you guys patrol more, or are you more aware of it? Is it on your radar?
We do patrol that area, but that doesn't stick out as an area that has increased activity.
And if you could give any message to the civilians who stepped in, what do you say to them?
Well, we'd like to thank them for their life-saving actions that they took, and you know, it just goes to show you that they potentially saved the life of 4 people.
So was there any fear from first responders or anyone else on scene as to what the substance was, and if it could affect anyone else on the scene besides the victims?
Well, officers, firefighters, and EMS, they're accustomed to using gloves, and however that is on their minds, but they're using gloves and they're doing the best that they can to protect themselves while performing these activities.
Can you detail what specific aid those civilians gave? Was it CPR? What did they do?
From what I was being told, they were doing CPR on 2 of the victims.
Okay.
And all the police and firefighters carry Narcan?
Yes.
Them? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Director, can you give us your name, sir?
Ray, last name Guidetti.
Sorry, Guid.